love that technology has made our scrapbooking lives so much easier, giving us so many fun toys to play with and so many ideas. But you know, one of the things that I struggle with when I scrapbook is that there are some basic things that you need, like good design. So we're going to actually talk a little bit about design right now. I was very inspired by the snowflake ornament that Joe created, and I loved that cut that we did at the end, that big 12 by 12 cut. So I cut it out of, it doesn't look like it because it's in two pieces, but I cut it out of pattern paper, and because I wanted to use it on a scrapbook page that I thought would be really pretty. So once I had cut it out of this pattern paper, that's where I started, I grabbed a photo that I thought went with it. And this is a photo of my mother and her sister sometime in the 1960s, looking very 60s, right? And I started to play around with it, and I couldn't quite get the page to work. But if you look at my finished page that I have over here, I'm actually very, very pleased with how that turned out. And I want to show you how I got from this idea to that finished product, okay? So first of all, thinking about what background to pick, I looked at my brightly colored photo and I looked at my brightly colored paper, but I noticed two things. The first thing is that my paper had a lot of white. So I knew I didn't want a white background because there wouldn't be enough contrast, so you wouldn't really see the cut. So I decided to go for a darker paper. I auditioned a whole bunch of papers that had a pattern, but again, it was fighting too much with this. So that's why I chose the black cardstock. Now, if I put this behind here, you'll see how this just pops, right? It immediately makes this beautiful design and the pattern paper pop. And then I popped my photo right there. And it was just, well, what can I say? It was a lot of pattern. It was a lot of overwhelming. So then I got the idea, well, what if I shove it over to the side and I'll just cut off, you know, part of that. And now by having white space, and remember, white space does not literally mean it's space that's white. White space refers to empty space that doesn't have anything in it. And I decided that that really helped everything focus. But then I couldn't figure out where to put my journaling. And I kept sort of trying to see like where it would go, how would I do the title on there? And I don't know, it just didn't quite work for me. So then I figured, why not use technology? Why not use the technology that's at my fingertips and cut a whole bunch of that snowflake, that kaleidoscope snowflake right there in a lot of different sizes out of pattern paper. So then I had this whole wonderful grouping of items to start playing with. So I tried then to see if I could layer some of these little cuts on top of some of the big ones, because I looked at the photo, I thought, well, they're wearing flowered dresses and there's flowers in the background. So I feel like there's a whole garden theme here, and why don't we go with some flowers? Now, if you're looking at this, you're probably thinking exactly what I was, which was, what a mess. It's too busy, it's too distracting. You can't really see anything, and it starts to look like, you know, these snowflake shakes, instead of looking cool and flowery, start to look like, you know, you sort of vomited product onto the page, and I don't want that. So I decided to try again, and I moved it all away, and I thought, well, what if I take this and I remove the large one and I just have my photo. It looks great. I love the little white edge on it. And I start to put in some of these as embellishments, playing around, laying them out, getting there to be a nice column. One thing about design that's always going to work on a square page is keeping it up and down or side to side, as opposed to trying to work in a diagonal or in an all-over design. So then I thought, you know, I'll layer these around, play with them, see how it looks, see if I can't get a nice design going. And I started to like the verticality of it, but I felt like it didn't have enough dimension. It was very flat. Well, there's an easy solution to that, which is I decided to take some of these smaller snowflakes, or I guess we're gonna call them flowers now. It can be anything you want, depending on the paper you cut it out of. And then I decided to put them on a little bit of foam adhesive to layer them up. Now, if you're using foam tape like I am, I have a little crafty tip for you, which is cut into it several small cuts like this so that you can get miniature little pieces of foam tape for those fussy little bits on the end. And I think I've stuck my foam adhesive to my foam adhesive. There you go. And that allows you to place a tiny little piece of foam adhesive right in the middle, peel the paper off the other side, stick it right down, and then adding a rhinestone immediately makes it into an embellishment. And notice that my rhinestone is gray, it's not white. And that's again because I want the photo with the white to be a star, and I want the rhinestones to just softly glitter. Now I cut my title first out of white, because I thought black, white, it's a high contrast. And while that does look really good, I decided on two things, which is one, I was gonna do my journaling in white, and I felt like it faded into the photo. So then I looked at the photo and I thought, well, my mom is really the star of it, because for me, I mean, I love my aunt, but it's about my mom for me. So I took some paper that was a similar color to her dress, right? And that helps tie that in and around, and also helps to bring in some of the blues that are in the paper a little bit. I also popped that up on foam adhesive because who doesn't like some dimension? Then I thought, oh, I don't know where to put my journaling. So I actually did some scribbling all over a sheet of black cardstock. And I thought, well, I'll just make my journaling go behind everything, almost like a background. But I'm just gonna put a couple pieces on here and you will immediately see the problem. Not only does it completely obscure it, even if it is just design, but it's really busy. And we're getting back to that busy problem. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna save this for another project for later, because remember, nothing is ever wasted. So I went ahead, I put this down, and then the only question that was really left for me was how to arrange these pieces. And if you look at my finished one, I want to talk about why I made the choices that I did. First of all, I made sure to put the title so it went out so that there was a place for my journaling to land. And then the other thing is, I made sure it was a little heavier on the bottom than it is on the top. Just like you always want things to be weighted a little on the bottom rather than the top.